Hello, you're highly welcome back again to this YouTube channel. And if you're new to this YouTube channel, you are highly welcome. Please do well to hit the subscribe button and also click on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop a new video. So in this video, we'll be making this beautiful ball dress that has a perfect inner finishing as well. So if this is something you're interested in, if this is something you want to watch, do well and keep watching. And I do hope that this video comes in handy in helping you to make that beautiful ball dress for that beautiful, amazing princess. So without much talk, let's dive right in. So I got this request from an amazing sweet mom on how to make a ball gown. Reason for the several uploads on children dresses that you've been seeing on my YouTube channel, and I promise to tag her once I make and upload a video on ball gowns. And I hope this video didn't come late. So this video will be in two parts in order for this tutorial to be perfectly understood, and this will be the first part, and the link to the second video will be on the description bars. So this right here contains measurement from 3 months to 24 months, which is 2 years. So we have 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, which is 1 year old, 18 months old, and 24 months old, which is 2 years old right there. And this measurement is for 3 years old, and this particular 1 year is for 5 years old, and also we have 6 years old year, and then the next one is for 7 years old, and after 7 years old we have that of 8 years old here. So I hope you find all of these measurements helpful. So these are the items that I'll be using for making this ball gown. I'll be making use of this lace fabric. This is about, it's not up to half a yard, but let's just say half a yard for this. And also I'm making use of the doll face, and then this tulle net or vein net. The texture of this tulle net is quite hard, or should I say strong? Let me say strong because it's different from, totally different from hard net. And also I'm making use of this appliques. I'm making use of the appliques as well, and also I'm making use of the zip, which is not here, and of course the sewing machine for stitching this together, and also my shock. I'm also making use of this hard net. As you can see, this is the hard net, so this is different from the tulle net. This makes the ball gown more fuller. So we'll just go right into drafting. So for the drafting, I'll be drafting directly on this doll face. Yes, you can draft on your pattern paper. I have done several videos on how to draft the basic bodies of toddlers using a pattern paper, but this time around I'm going to be using a freehand. So if you would prefer that of the pattern paper, I will just drop the link to those videos on the description box, so you go ahead and watch it, and go ahead and use it to draft. But nonetheless, it's the same thing as this. Just the difference is just that this time around I'm drafting directly on the fabric or the face. So with all of that being said, I'll just go ahead and let's start the drafting. So as you can see, I have folded this doll face into two, making sure the right side is inside and the wrong side is outside facing me, because that's where I'm going to do the shockings and the marking, and obviously you want the writings to be on the wrong side, right? So that is it. So now that I've folded it, I'm just trying to trim off this part so that I have a straight beginning. Yeah, it has to be straight. And take note that the measurements used for this tutorial are the measurements of an 18-month-old beauty. So now that is sorted out, I'll go right ahead and mark out the shoulder measurement. So go ahead and divide the shoulder measurement by 2 and mark it out. So after dividing by 2, I have 4.25, which I went ahead to mark out here like this. And then I'll come down by half an inch from the shoulder point like this. And now that this is done, I'll go ahead and mark the neck width. So the neck width I'm making use of is 2 inches. Please note that the neck width of toddlers ranges from 1.75 to 2 inches. So I'm making use of 2 inches, and for the neck depth I'll also be making use of 2 inches like this. And then I'll go ahead and connect the neck width to the neck depth to get a fine round neckline like this. So now that this is done, I'll go ahead and connect this 1/2 inch to this neck width like this to get that shoulder slant or slope. You know, our shoulder is slanted and quite slopey. So now that this is done, I'll go ahead and mark the armhole depth, which is 4 inch, and I'll connect this back to the shoulder like this. After this is done, I'll go ahead and divide the chest measurement by 4 and mark it out. So the chest measurement divided by 4 gave me 4.75, which I marked out here. And I'll go ahead and rule a straight line like this. And this represents the chest line. So now that this is done, the next step is to get the armhole curve. Now to get the armhole curve, you would want to find the midpoint of the armhole depth by folding your tape over like this to get the midpoint like this. Then I'm going to come in with 0.25 inch. 0.25 inch. If you don't know how to read your tape, I have done a video on that, on how to read your tape, and I will drop the link also on the description box. So next step is I'm going to go ahead and just connect these 3 points together. So I'll just go ahead and connect like this. Now you can see we have that armhole curve because our armhole is quite curved. It's curved, not even quite. Next is to mark out the from the shoulder to the waist measurement. So for an 18-month-old, the shoulder to the waist measurement is 8 inches, which I am marking out like this, as you can see. So just go ahead and mark it out like this. 8 inches. And I'll just rule this out like this, and this is the waistline. And obviously I'll be attaching the flare to this, so I would not want to encroach on this main measurement, so I'll be adding 1 inch to this like this from the waistline as my sewing allowance. So this sewing allowance will be enough for me to attach the flare to this upper bodice. So this is the waistline, and this is the aiming line or the joining allowance, whichever you would understand it as. So next step is to go ahead and mark out the round bodice measurements after dividing by 4. So you know, on the chest line, I have already divided the chest measurement by 4 and I have marked it out. Then I'll go ahead and add 2 inches for sewing allowance. Now on the waistline, I'll also go ahead and divide the waist circumference by 4 and mark it out, and also add 2 inches for sewing allowance. And I will repeat the same thing on the allowance line. So I'll go ahead and mark it out and also add 2 inches for sewing allowance like this. Then I'll just go ahead and extend these lines to get to this new point and just connect like this. And I hope you do understand. So now that this is done, the next step is to go ahead and cut this out. So please look closely how this was cut out. So now that I've cut this out, I'll just go ahead and open it up so you see what we have. So next step is to go ahead and draft out the back pattern. And as you can see, I have folded the door face into 2 with the wrong side outside. Now obviously, you know, the back of every ball dress has a zip, so you'd want to create an allowance for the zip. So I'll be making use of 1 inch for the zip allowance, and I'll be marking it like this, 1 inch like this from the center back. So I'll just go ahead and mark 1 inch, going with 1 inch from the center back like this. And I'll just connect these dots to get a straight line like so. So this space is the zip allowance or zipper allowance. Now that this is done, to avoid drafting the back pattern from scratch all over again, I'll just go ahead and bring in the front pattern and place it on it like this. So you can see it's starting from this line here. So I'll just go ahead and place it like this, starting from the line, the zipper line like this, as you can see. And after doing that, I'll just use my hands to, you know, hold it down and just trace this part, the down part like this. I'll trace it out on this new fabric, and I'll also trace out the side like this, as you can see. I'll trace it out using my chalk, and after tracing it out, I'll also go towards the shoulder area and trace out this slanted shoulder as well on the back pattern, on the fabric for the back pattern, like this. And I also get to trace out this part of the armhole. I'll trace it out like this. So now that I've traced the necessary part out, and as you can see, I didn't get to trace out the neckline and the side of the armhole because the neckline and the side of the armhole of the back pattern is different from that of the front pattern. So I'll go ahead and remove the front pattern and I'll go ahead and draft out the neckline for the back pattern. So remember, we are still making use of 2 inches for the neck width, and for the neck depth for the back, I'm making use of 1 inch. So take note of the fact that the neck width of the back and that of the front has to be the same. It has to be the same. So now that I've marked 1 inch for the neck depth, I'll go ahead and connect the neck width to this neck depth to get a nice round neckline like this. Next, I'll go ahead and mark out the armhole depth, which is obviously 4 inch, and I'll mark it out like so, as you can see, and then I'll just connect the shoulder to meet up with the armhole depth like this. Next, I'll go ahead and get the midpoint of the armhole depth like this by folding my tape over, and then I'll just go ahead and mark the midpoint out. And this time around, I'll just curve it like this. So for the back pattern, the only difference is you don't go in by half of an inch or 0.25 inch. Rather, you just, after getting the midpoint, you just go ahead and curve it like that. So it's time to cut it out, and this is it, as you can see. So I'll just go ahead and also notch this line so I would know where my zip allowance stops at or starts from. And then I will just open it up like this. So as you can see, this is the back pattern and this is the front pattern. So I'll go ahead and use this to cut out the lace fabric. So this is the lace fabric and I've gone ahead to fold it into 2 like this. And I'll go ahead and place the front pattern on it, or the front piece of the doll face on it, and pin it down using the office pin, to pin it down, or the pin, whatever pin to pin it down. And then I'll go ahead and cut it out like this, exactly what I have on the doll face. So I'll cut it out like this. So as you can see, I have cut out the lace fabric as well. Now for the back pattern, I'll also go ahead and fold the lace fabric into 2 like this, and also bring in the back pattern and place it on it, and also use the office pin to hold it down so it doesn't slip. So after holding it down using the office pin, I'll just go ahead and also cut it out exactly what I have on the doll face. So this is it. I've cut it out and I've opened up the center back. So now it's time to start sewing. So the first step is I'm going to open this up and I'll bring in the front lace as well, and I'll place it on it, making sure the right side of the lace is facing the wrong side of the doll face. So the right side of the lace should be facing the wrong side of the doll face, and I'll go ahead and stitch up the neckline. So the wrong side of the doll face is obviously the rough side of the doll face. Next, I'll bring in the back pattern and I'll go ahead and open this up so you'd see it. So this is the wrong side, and I'm just going to indicate that this is the wrong side, and I'll place it like this, and I'm going to bring in the lace and also place it on it like this, making sure that the right side of the lace is facing the wrong side of the doll face. And I'll go ahead and stitch up the neckline. So when stitching up the neckline, make use of 0.25 for the stitching allowance or for the sewing allowance. So after doing that, I'll come back and show you guys. So go ahead and use your office pin to hold it down to the doll face. So at this point, as you can see, I have stitched up the necklines. As you can see, I've stitched up the necklines. So I'll bring in the front pattern. I have also stitched up the neckline, as you can see. So for the neckline, after stitching it, I did top stitching as well. So this is it. I don't know if you can see this. So if you've watched my videos before, you should be able to know how to top stitch. But if you still do not know how to top stitch, no problem, just go ahead and just close up the neckline and iron. Next is to cut out the doll face that will be used for the beds and the designs. So as you can see, I have cut out this long piece of doll face that is about 14 inches long and 3.5 inches wide, as you can see. So I cut out three of this piece, and I'll go ahead and fold it into two like this, and then I'll just use my chalk to outline it for you the way you're going to run your stitch through it to close it up like this. So this is how you would run your stitch through it to sew the bed. So this is it. I have stitched it, and I will stitch two of this too. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out, and I'll use the scissors to push this through to the other end like this. So I'll bring it out to the right side like this, and you go ahead and iron and sew the other piece like this. So you should be having two of that bed. Now for the third piece of doll face, I'll bring that in and fold into two like this. So for this bed, to bring it out more, you can get to use a broomstick to push out this point, because you really want to push out this point. So I'm trying to use my finger. So if you can't, just go ahead and use a broomstick to push it out. So back to the third piece, you go ahead and fold it into two like this, making sure the right side is facing you. And as you can see, the measurement for this upper bodice is 14 inches wide. And that's the measurement I used in cutting out how long the pieces would be. So I'll go ahead and fold it like this, making sure the shiny side of the doll face is outside, and I'll stitch it on the side like this, and I'll bring in the bed and also stitch it on the side like this. I'll place it nicely and stitch it. So I'll go ahead and stitch it and also do the other bed like that. So after doing that, I'll just bring it back and show you. So guys, this is it. As you can see, I have stitched down the bed to the lace fabric, and please take note of the way I placed the beds before stitching them down. Rather, take note of the way I placed them. It's very, 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 very necessary. It's very important. So I went ahead to tie the bed at the front, and now it's time to join the shoulders together. That is the back pattern and the front pattern together at the shoulder. And in order to do this, I'll go ahead and open up this shoulder, the front pattern shoulder, and I'll also bring in one piece of the back pattern and open up the shoulder as well, and place them like this, making sure the lines, these seam lines, are lined on each other. And then the doll face is on the doll face of the front pattern, and the lace is on the lace of the front pattern. And I'll go ahead and stitch the shoulder. So make sure that the right sides are lying on each other. So I'll do the same thing on the other shoulder as well, making sure the right sides are lying on each other. The right side of the fabrics are lying on each other, and also make sure the seams are also lying on each other correctly. And then go ahead and close up the shoulder with 1/2 inch. So this is it. I have gone ahead to close up the shoulders, and this is what I have. And when you're ironing the shoulder, to avoid bulkiness at the shoulder, make sure you spread open the seams and then you iron. Now that I have closed up the shoulder, the next step is to go ahead and close up the armhole. So I'll go ahead and flip this fabric to the wrong side. So I'm just going to turn it over to the wrong side like this, as you can see. So I'll just flip this over to the wrong side. And after flipping it, I'll go ahead and arrange properly. Just arrange. And then I'll go ahead and close up the armhole like this. So I'll go ahead and close up the armhole, and once I've done that, I'll bring it to show you guys. So this is it. As you can see, I have closed up the armhole, as you can see. So right now, I'll go ahead and turn this over to the right side by passing the back pattern through the shoulder like this. So it's very simple. And then I'll do the same thing for the other shoulder as well. Just go ahead and bring this in like this and bring it out. So this is it, guys. So make sure you iron after every stitch. It gives you a neat finishing. So this is the back. You can see how neat it's looking. So now that this is done, the next step is to go ahead and close up the side seams. That's the next step, to go ahead and close up the side seams. So I'm just trying to arrange. So in closing up the side seam, the first thing you would want to do is to go ahead and open up the what's it called, back pattern like this. You open it up like this, and you open the other side as well like this, and you also go ahead and open up the front pattern like this. So this way you have the lace lying on the lace of the back pattern and the door face lying on the door face as well, with the seams lying on each other. I hope you do understand. So right now you go ahead and measure the sewing allowance you used while drafting, and then you sew. You close up the side seam. So you use the sewing allowance to close up the side seam. So I made use of 2 inches for the sewing allowance. So I'll go ahead and measure 2 inches and then close up the side seams. So once I've done that, I'll show you. So this is it, guys. As you can see, I've closed up the side seam, and I'm just going to bring in my tape to show you. So you can see 2 inches here, and then I close up the seam 2 inches. I marked it out and I closed up the side seam. So that's just it. So now that I've closed up the side seams, I'll just bring this back to the right side of the half cut of the upper bodice. So this is the back, this is the wrong side. You can see how neat it's looking. So this is the inner seam, and this is what you have. So right now the next step is to draft and cut out the flare and the net that will be sewn underneath this. So at this point you can go ahead and loose open the bed. So you can see this is how it comes out. So you can go ahead and stitch this part to the lace fabric so it doesn't open up like the way it did earlier on. Just go ahead and use your needle and thread to stitch up that place little by bit by bit, and then this is what we have right now. So I'll be uploading the final video, which is the part 2 of this video, by tomorrow next, and once I do, I'll drop the link to that video on the description box. And if any part seems confusing to you, don't worry, just drop your question on the comment section and I'll try as much as possible to respond to you. So if you enjoyed this video and if this video was helpful to you, do well to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to click on that subscribe button. So see you on the next video. Love ya.